She's My Prey by Celeste King. Episode 1.
You know, I've been wanting to tell this story for a while, Earthroth.
Really? And why is that?
There's just something about Sadie's story that I can't get enough of.
Well, the entire season is already up on worldsofprotheka.com, meaning you don't have to wait another week for a new episode every time.
Wait, really? I can go get all of the episodes right now.
That's right. You can even use promo code YouTube30 for a 30% discount on the full season bundle.
Say no more.
Samara, this wouldn't have anything to do with Renem, would it?
Why do you say that?
I'm no fool. A monster who is nearly as beastly on the streets as he is under the sheets.
Oh, you mean someone like you?
Why don't you give the stories a rest and come over here then?
Maybe I will.
Thank you for listening to episode 1 of She's My Prey by Celeste King.
Chapter 1. Sadie. No, I gasp, the oxygen barely in my lungs to cry out the words. Branches whip at my face and tear at my dress as my legs pump beneath me, my feet colliding with the ground hard enough to send reverberations running up my legs. My chest heaves as I greedily suck down air, chancing a quick glance over my shoulder and finding no evidence of anything chasing after me. I know well enough that just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, though. The sound of my feverish escape echoes through the silent woods, the trees seeming to amplify every footfall, every shallow breath. But I don't dare stop. My knees threaten to buckle beneath me as I dart through the trees, shoving through the underbrush in my path. But I push myself to move faster. Suddenly I throw myself to the right, pushing into the hollowed-out centre of a massive typh tree. Usually the woods are full of life, full of sound, but tonight this forest feels like a graveyard. No sleepy sounds of critters or quiet bird calls sound from between the branches. It's as if the whole forest knows danger is near, and is hiding from the apex predator roaming between the trees. If someone had told me a month ago that I would be running for my life instead of sitting in the stuffy classroom of the bordello, preparing to be sold off to indoor, I would have laughed. I thought he was the biggest threat to my life at the time. But it's funny how 4 weeks can change perspective. I tried desperately to even out my breathing, staying as silent as I possibly can, as I press myself against the inside of the tree, trying to become small and unnoticeable. My heart thunders in my chest, like the beat of a wild drum, intent on summoning the monster in these woods. The sudden silence feels like as much of a death sentence as the sounds of me crashing through the forest vegetation, the sudden lack of sound deafening even to my human ears. I strain against the silence, listening intently for signs of movement, for any sign that I've been tracked this far. Seconds feel like hours as I curl tightly in on myself, blind in the swallowing darkness of the tree, the sparse moonlight unable to penetrate the hard bark. From my vantage point, I can only see a sliver of the forest floor and the gnarled trees beyond, a thick mist beginning to gather near their roots, obscuring my vision further. A soft, faraway snap sends a chill racing down my spine. A part of me wants to believe that it's just some harmless anserine, stretching its wings on the forest floor, but I know better. To survive in these woods, a sense of self-preservation is paramount, and no creature who wants to live would dare be caught vulnerable right now. Except me. My eyes strain against the darkness as I fight to see through the mist, see any sign of the monster following me. Silence falls heavily over the forest again, the snap of that rogue branch echoing in my ears. I swear I hear a voice, but it's too distant for me to tell. I try to shove down the useless panic welling in my chest, to push aside the paralyzing fear of being hunted. But my body argues with me, my muscles locking together and going rigid as I stare out over that sliver of forest. My eyes water and my sight blurs, my eyes burning as I stare at the woods beyond. I don't dare to blink, to tear my eyes away from my window into the woods, for fear of what might be there after my eyes open again. Nothing moves between the trees save for the thickening mist, rolling and crawling across the drying leaves on the forest floor. I've never been under the impression that human beings were any kind of real threat, not here on Protheka, amongst the dark elves and orcs and all other manner of horrifying creatures. But right now, tucked inside this tree, counting down the seconds left in my life, I've never been more aware of how truly helpless I am. Another branch snaps, closer this time. I clamp my hands over my mouth, suppressing the scream that's been bubbling in my throat since the night began. It's toying with me. It could move soundlessly if it wanted to, go completely undetected in the woods, especially on a night like tonight when the moon is little more than a sliver in the sky. But it likes when I'm scared. It wants me to know it's coming for me. The forest is not your safe space, little one. My heart kicks further up in gear, just like it wanted it to. Slowly, so slowly, I peel a hand away from my face, feeling around in the base of the tree for anything I could use as a weapon. It'd be stupid to think I could outrun it in any kind of fair race, or even fight it in any meaningful way. But I don't want to die here. I'll do what I have to for even one more minute of life. A too big foot appears from the mist, nearly wrenching a scream from my lips. The creature is massive, even bigger than I remember. My hand shakes as it closes around a rock, my fingers clenching tightly around it as I bring it closer to my chest. You cannot hide from me. My breaths come faster, shallower as I lose the fight against my rising panic. The mist thickens, nearly obscuring my vision as the thing lowers its head to the forest floor, the sun-bleached white bone of its skull gleaming in the starlight. It huffs as it inhales my scent, massive membranous wings protruding from its back and casting dim shadows in the mist around it. Even from here, when it's crouched nearly on all fours, I realise that this thing dwarfs everything, even the largest of orcs. It must be nearly 8 feet tall at its full height, broad, dark shoulders twitching with the promise of violence as it commits my smell to memory. What did I tell you? It's not looking at me, and I pray that it's only hoping to draw out a whimper from me, to alert it to my presence. Without warning, its head snaps toward me, dim red light pouring from empty eye sockets as it zeroes in on my hiding spot in the tree, and I lose control of myself. I scream, the sound shattering the stillness of the forest. My scream seems to be all the permission the creature needs, and it races for me on all fours, faster than should be possible. A massive hand closes around my ankle, nearly taking up my entire calf as it wrenches me from the hollow of the tree. I'll forgive your mistake, little one, just this once. In a panic, I slam the rock against the creature's skull, scrambling backward as its flesh-bare maw opens, revealing its impossibly sharp teeth and unleashing a roar that makes the forest floor tremble. I'm on my feet in an instant, running as fast as I can, tearing through the woods yet again. Cold sweat clings to my brow, my heart beats wildly in my chest, and my mind fixates on only one thing. Run, run, run! That one, it snarls. I'm not sure I can forgive. I hear the heavy thuds of the creature's footfalls behind me, shaking the earth itself as it gives chase. I try to use my smaller size to my advantage, darting between narrow gaps in the trees and rocketing through thick undergrowth, but I can hear it gaining on me. It's close, too close. I'm going to die. A sudden weight wraps itself around me just as I reach the edge of a cliffside, and the creature and I go tumbling over the edge. Rocks and other small debris rain down around us as we tumble down the cliff face, rolling and picking up speed as the ground rockets up to meet us. That fall alone would have killed me were it not for the massive, muscle-hardened body enclosing mine, gripping me so tightly I can hardly breathe. The creature's body weathers the impact of jagged stone like it's nothing, the two of us skidding to a stop along a stream. I struggle against it as it lands on top of me, the sheer size of the thing pinning me to the ground, my fists beating uselessly against its chest. It growls, its red eyes swallowing up everything in my vision, forcing me to look my own death square in the face. Another scream builds in my throat as a huge dark hand encircles both of my wrists, shoving them up above my head and pinning them to the ground. Sharp riverstones bite into the tender flesh of my bare arms, stinging in the cool night air, hot blood beading along the small seams opening in my skin as it holds me still beneath it. Its other hand trails up my waist before clamping down hard on my mouth, silencing my shrieks. It lowers its skull to my chest, the cold bone trailing along the bare skin between my breasts, taking deep huffs as if it means to inhale me entirely. Hot exhales of breath tickle in its skull's wake, caressing my bare skin as it raises its skull again, studying me. I expect it to open its jaws, to take my head between its teeth and gnash on it like an overripe fruit, but instead it only stares at me. Its skull cocks to the side, as if curious somehow about the prey it has so easily caught and rendered helpless. My stomach tightens, my laboured breathing shuddering, as fear and anxiety and another feeling I can't quite place mingles strangely inside me. The creature's hot breath rolls along the side of my face, and I screw my eyes shut, turning my face away from the inevitable gore that's waiting for me. "Look at me!" the thing snarls, its voice throaty and low. My head snaps back to it, my eyes wide as I begin to tremble beneath the creature. Its voice is so much worse when I can feel it vibrating through me. What is this thing? Regardless of the questions swirling through my mind, I do as it says, keeping my eyes open and looking into the glowing red of its empty eye sockets. Perhaps if I find some way to appease this thing, to make it happy, it won't kill me. I won't have to die some horrible death alone in the middle of the cooling woods. The stream above my head babbles along, water lapping at the ends of my hair and cooling the heat pouring off of my skin from my mad race through the forest. The creature falls silent again, staring down at me, when its jaws slowly begin to open, a long, slick pink tongue rolling from between its teeth. Oh gods, I was wrong. I was so wrong. There's no avoiding my fate. Chapter 2. Sadie. I've spent my entire life in the bordello, training to be the perfect bride for the top-bidding dark elf. And oftentimes I wonder what that future holds for me, or if there is something else out there waiting for me that I do not yet know is on the horizon. So much can change in so little time, and right now I can feel something brewing. Or maybe it's just my imagination trying to keep me from dying of boredom. The air is warm and stuffy in the classroom at this time of year. Madame Fleur is talking about proper tea etiquette, and I'm trying to pay attention, but the warmth is lulling me to sleep. There are only a few of us in this class. Me, my best friend Annika, Flora, Louisa, Fana, Gigi, and Monica. She gives me a glare right now, which I'm pointedly trying to ignore. I know she hates me, but it's not even my fault. My mind can't help but drift back to her first week here, the reason for her glare. "Hello," I say, trying to be friendly. "I'm Sadie." "Nice to meet you," she says stiffly. "I'm Monica." I smile, trying to look reassuring. Monica's returning one is too tense, making her look a little nervous. I'm so excited at the idea of having another friend. Some of the girls don't like me, and it makes me sad. "Where are you from?" I whisper, as the madam looks over our essays. "Voi," she whispers back. "I was being trained there, but I was sent away because a Kasheng became obsessed and tried to hurt me." We shut up when Madame Fleur sets our essays down and looks us over, eyebrows raising. I sit up straighter and try to pretend I wasn't whispering with the new girl. "Girls, please partner up for your music lessons today. Each of you will take turns being the player and the page-turner. Monica and I are assigned to work together. We give each other quick smiles and follow the madam to the music room. It's Monica's turn first. She's instructed to show her abilities, and I'm there to turn the page for her. She plays beautifully, and I compliment her profusely. "Thank you, Sadie," she whispers. When it's my turn, I sit down and fluff out my skirts. "Start with Waltz of the King," Madame Fleur instructs me. I wait for Monica to turn the pages for me and place my fingers over the keys of the jinraya, a sleek instrument that produces the most beautiful melodies. As I'm playing, I glance over to see Louisa and Flora making exaggerated faces behind Madame Fleur's back, which distracts Monica and makes her giggle. She isn't paying close attention, and when Madame Fleur instructs her to turn the page, she accidentally pushes on the lid of the jinraya, which slams onto my hands. "Ow!" I yelp, leaping up in shock and clutching my hands to my chest. "Girls," she scolds them, "I find this behaviour appalling. You have brought shame to yourselves, disgraceful," she screams. "Look what you've done." She points to my hand, which is bruising, and has a small cut from the lid slicing my skin. 20 lashes each. "Bordello princess!" Flora hisses at me when Madame Fleur leaves to get her walking stick. "She's the Madame's pet. That's why we were punished, Monica, because we injured Her Highness." "But she got injured," Monica pointed out. "Hardly." Flora turns up her nose. The stupid little brat was hardly scratched. She thinks she runs the school. The Madame is going to beat us now, and it's all her fault. Monica narrows her eyes at me, eyeing me up and down. I think that was the exact minute she decided she hated me. "I'm not a princess," I say, feeling helpless. "It was an accident. I'll talk to the Madame about it." "Don't bother," Louisa scoffs. "Everyone knows you're the bordello's princess." I ball my hands into fists under my desk at the memory. Even Annika thinks that Madame Fleur treats me better than the others, but it's not true. I sigh, tired of being hated for something that I didn't even do. My shoulders slump, and I try to make myself look smaller. "Miss Sadie," Madame Fleur calls, "please sit up straight. Your posture is all wrong." I immediately straighten up and dart my eyes around, earning glares from the other girls. I want to shrink into the floor. She walks towards me, holding onto the walking stick in her hand. "All of you need to remember your posture lessons," she says, smacking the stick directly into Louisa's backside. "Posture is one of the most important things you can learn here," she continues. I flinch, as though I'm the one who's been struck. "A woman who sits attentively looks more interested than one slumped over or lounging lazily," the Madam continues. "If you look interested, the man will be more likely to bring his company to you." Despite the fact that I did nothing wrong, Monica is giving me an even harder glare. She probably thinks that I'm oh so favoured here, but who wants that? Who would choose willingly to be the bordello's princess? I'd rather be beaten with the stick. This place is a glorified whorehouse. We all get trained to be perfect ladies, high class, high quality companions. But the dark truth is, we're not here to be real companions. We're here to be sold out to noble dark elves, to be used and abused until we're inevitably discarded. It didn't used to be like this, at least not as much. When I first came here, it was rare for the dark elves to take us on in any permanent sense. The girls would be rented for the night, just as they were at any other whorehouse. No pretense, no silly lessons on etiquette or talents. It was never good, of course, but at least it felt more honest. Now, however, it's become a trend for the Kuzuth to buy themselves human companions, to parade us around like accessories in order to gain favour with the nobles on the continents who have actually chosen to mate with humans. How did having humans as little playthings become a fad anyway? The dark elves have always hated humans and viewed us as lesser beings. In any case, as demand for human companions began to rise, the school started taking on more and more girls. Our class is small, but there are other classes in the school besides ours. Girls come here as soon as they turn 12, though some start as early as 7, depending on their status in life. We learn everything here about becoming the most proper ladies and the best companions. We have singing lessons, art lessons. We learn about poetry and literature. We are taught how to read and write, to dance and play instruments. But at the end of the day, the most important lesson we get, which is drilled into our heads over and over, is how to please a man. Those lessons are far from my favourite. None of my lessons are all that fun, but the lessons we get on men are the worst. I always leave them feeling nauseous and lightheaded. I wish my life was different, but I have no say in the matter. No choice. What's worse is that my time is almost up. Girls are usually selected as companions around the age of 18. I've already passed that threshold, but I doubt that my extended time here is the result of any real favour or sentimentality, and it's certainly not because I'm the bordello's princess. Madame Fleur tells me that it's because no one has put in a good enough offer. I don't know if I should believe her, but I'm thankful for the reprieve all the same. I'm already 20, which means that it's only a matter of time now. The bordello will choose a dark elf for me, or more likely I'll go to the highest bidder, who will keep me in a luxurious lifestyle so long as I stay his good little companion. We're all just commodities here, no matter what they tell us about being trained into becoming proper ladies. At the end of the day, we're expensive decorations for the noble dark elf with the funds to purchase us. Of course, we're only the highest priced goods here. Only the Kuzuth are even allowed to look our way. Not that it makes one bit of this any better. "Stand up, Louisa," Madame Fleur says sharply. "You need to be taught a lesson. This is the third time today I've had to correct your posture. You can't expect to catch a man's attention if you insist on slacking." Louisa grits her teeth and shoots me a glare, which also earns me another glare from Monica. She stands and Madame Fleur pushes her, forcing her to drop, hands out in front of her, kneeling on the ground. The crack of her knees hitting the ground makes me wince. It sounds painful. "Now, hopefully the lesson will sink into your thick skull this time," she says, raising Louisa's skirts over her hips, showing her bare skin, deliberately humiliating her. Madame Fleur takes the stick and smacks it against Louisa on the backside again, harder this time. 10 lashes. My entire body goes hot and prickly with disgust and shame, and I feel numb as I watch Madame Fleur beat her. Louisa's screams echo through the room, along with the sound of the stick hitting her backside. Her screams get louder with each swat. I stay ramrod straight, afraid to incur my own punishment, but inside I'm hunched into myself, gritting my teeth and trying to block out the sound of Louisa's screams. This is awful. I hate this. I need to speak up. Even if I'm not the bordello's princess, I do have some sway with the madam. I won't be here forever either. What will happen when I leave these girls? What about my friends? What about Annika? Will Madame Fleur abuse them even more? What can I do to stop this? Can I help Louisa, or do I risk getting into trouble myself? As I'm racking my brain, Monica leans over her desk towards me. "This is all your fault, whore," she whispers harshly. "You were the one that drew her eye to posture." I'm shaking inside, and my nails are digging into my fists. This isn't right. Why must it be this way? I don't want to leave this place. Even though it's not the best, staying is better than leaving Annika or any of my other friends alone here. And it's better than leaving to be the little doll of some sick, twisted dark elf. I take a deep breath, making my decision. I'm going to do it. Even if I get beaten myself, I have to stick up for Louisa, for all of us here. Madame Fleur is too strict with us, too harsh. We don't deserve this treatment. We're supposed to be high-quality goods, after all. You can't break or damage high-quality goods without repercussions. I open my mouth to speak, but a uniformed dark elf barges into the room, interrupting. "Where is Sadie Elsar?" he demands. My heart stops. What could he want with me?
Chapter 3. Renem. I am a flesh-eater, a monster, and I take pride in the fact that I star in nightmares of the children of the dark elves I hunt. As one of the oldest of my kind, I'm also one of the most powerful. To most humans, I have no name. I am the winged nightmare creature looking for prey to hunt. To some humans in this area, I'm known as Manaha, a man-eater, a creature that will tear you limb from limb if you venture into the deepest parts of the forest. But truly, I am a Wara, a realm reaper, a dimension walker. Subsisting on a diet of mainly dark elves, I've gained intelligence and sentience beyond that of my fellow Wara. I am selective about who I hunt. Now I only hunt and eat the most powerful of elves or of beasts. Despite what they think, I seldom hunt humans anymore. I only seek them out when I grow bored of my diet. Dark elves give less of a chase than their pale-skinned counterparts, despite supposedly being the stronger of the two races. As a powerful being, I am highly feared among my people. I've claimed the biggest territory in the entirety of the Khazad-dûrn Ridge. No one ever dares step foot in my lands if they wish to survive. Some still think they can push my limits despite my superior strength. Fools. I run through my territory, the sound of racing footfalls spurring me along. I'm hunting a warg, just to get the energy out. The creature is humped, with 3 eyes, and is larger than normal. It's mutated. It sprints on, foaming at the mouth from how long we've been running. It will tire out soon. I let out an inhuman shriek that startles it, making it cry out. It only encourages me. The king has bred these wargs to be more dangerous, more predatory. But it's small compared to me. Hardly enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Maybe I'll go to the city to hunt tonight or tomorrow. A flash out of the corner of my eye catches my attention. I see the warg now, struggling through the undergrowth. With a fierce snarl, I leap out from the trees and descend upon the piteous creature. It lets out a shrieking roar as it attempts to toss me off its back. With a chuckle, I drive my hand through the creature's stomach, ripping out its intestines and using the innards to wrap around the creature's neck. It shrieks and struggles, growing weaker as the blood loss catches up to it, but I continue strangling it. I enjoy the killing, yes, but I enjoy the hunt more. A part of me mourns the end of our little game, but this is just as enjoyable, watching the life drain from my prey's eyes as it struggles and fights against the inevitable. Once the creature lays limp, I wrap strong arms around it and begin squeezing, draining the blood onto the forest floor in a messy puddle. Watching the blood pool gives me a deep satisfaction. I'm so distracted that I almost don't pick up on it at first. My nose twitches to life as I catch the scent of something filling the air. I sniff deeply, swiveling my head around. What is that? It smells like the scent of some young, unfamiliar Wera entering my territory. What is it that they could possibly want? I tilt my head, my teeth clicking together as I ready to tear something else apart. This is a great day, I think to myself. I just finished my hunt of the warg and I was already itching for my next one. Now I have the perfect opportunity. This is what I am meant to do. I drop the warg, sprinting inhumanly fast towards the Wera, who are attempting to be stealthy as they sneak toward me. There are 3 of them, young ones from the looks of them. Some Wera travel in packs, grouping to defeat their enemies faster, or to better catch their prey. But that is only for the weak. I am strong. I have no need for companionship. Pitiful creatures. All the more prey for me. What do you want? I demand, dropping from the trees in front of them. The 3 immediately stand back to back, clearly not expecting me to catch them so easily. Time seems to freeze for a moment, and then the forest erupts in a blur of noise and movement. The 3 younglings attack, certain that I'm outnumbered. But I'm older than all 3 of them combined. I've been around for long enough to know how to take on a group of prey all at once. Prey are the most vicious when they know that death is imminent. The 3 Wara lash out with teeth and claws and feet. The one that seems to be their leader has the skull of a liker, with shaggy, matted black fur and blood-stained clothing. The one on his left has a day skull with 3 large antlers, dripping in moss. He's larger than the leader by a few inches, but less bulky. The one on the right has the skull of a thistle, with huge, protruding horns with sharp points. He's got black, curly fur like that of a thistle as well. If I were a human, I'd be afraid. But to me, it only makes him look more like prey. I dodge their attacks from the left and right, flying backwards towards a tree so I can push off, flying at them feet first. I get in one good swipe using my claws on the leader and he shrieks, falling back. There's an opening now and I take it, feinting left, then going right, aiming for Day's skull. He dodges my attack, but I catch his arm as he darts away, using my strength against him by yanking back until the arm pops from its socket. The shriek he lets out gives me a burst of adrenaline. I swing him around and slam him onto the ground, hearing the arm let out a satisfying crack. The other two rush at me, jumping on my back and clawing at my paper-thin flesh, drawing blood. I fling one off and he goes flying into a tree, hitting it with a loud thud. The other clings tightly to my back, so I ram myself into the tree behind me, trying to brain him, hoping that he'll release once he's dead. Just as I step forward to take another running shot, the wearer clinging to me digs its fingers into my empty eye sockets, trying to obscure my vision. I can't get a handle on the one behind me now. While I'm trying to get him off me, the one on the ground has already healed because of my inattention and staggered to his feet. He launches himself at me, distracting me. The two Wera are now on top of me, tearing at me, trying to take me down together. The third, Thistle Skull, is hovering in the background as though waiting his turn. They manage to bring me down to my knees, viciously snarling as they go for my throat. I can't get them off me right now. I'm stronger than them, but I know that I can't take 3 down with mere brute strength. These Wera are young and probably subsist on dumb beasts. They haven't gained the intelligence and forethought that I have. It's more important to let them think they have the upper hand and then strike when the time is right. It's how I've survived as long as I have, not just relying on my strength, but my intellect as well. They think they've got me where they want me, but they don't know that I'm a true hunter. I stalk prey for days sometimes, just for fun. I know what I'm doing, and I've got them exactly where I want them. Unleashing a mighty roar, I jump upward, throwing the two Wera off me easily. Reaching out for Day's skull, I dig my claws into his side, ripping him open. He shrieks and takes 2 steps before collapsing on the ground, his innards slipping out of his body. I reach down and rip off his antlers one by one, enjoying the melodic tones of his screams. It's a wonderful sound. The other Wera is running away, but I sprint after him at my full speed, overtaking him easily. This one, their leader, makes a chirping noise at his companion, as if to say, "Run, get away!" But the companion ignores it, too stupid to give up the fight. He comes after me, but I'm already dragging my prey back to the clearing. When I reach the clearing, I lift Likar's skull by the throat and grin at him. "You stood no chance, whelp!" I growl out. The other Wera grabs at me, attempting to bite me. I bat him off, and he lands a few feet away, next to his companion who's laying on the ground, bleeding out. He races at me once again, and I kick out with my feet, sending him flying. He lands awkwardly on his hand, apparently breaking it if the yelps are anything to go by. The one that I have in my clutches is scrabbling at my arm, trying to claw at me to release him. I laugh, high and cruel. Lowering him down, I stare at him in his empty eye sockets. "Say goodbye," I tell the leader, baring my sharp fangs and going for his throat. With ease, I rip it out, swallowing the thick, hot blood that gushes messily from the hole. The last Wera, the only one still standing, screams and clutches at his broken hand, getting to his feet and stumbling backward. I enjoy the obvious terror radiating from him, his body twitching frantically, jaw open in horror and shock. If there's one emotion I understand, it's fear. The smell is so wonderfully potent, I could almost live off it. With another scream, Thistle Skull turns and sprints off as fast as possible, crashing through the trees in his haste to get away. I throw Likar's skull aside, his body landing next to his friend as I take off after the fleeing one. "Run, run, run, I'm coming for you!" I call out, glee in my voice. He can run as fast as he wants, but he can't hide. I am the true monster in the woods. Nothing can escape me. But I do love the chase, and I am always looking for something more. But I have to wonder, is anything out there a good enough match for me? If there is, I will find it, and I will slay it. It should know I'm coming for it even now. In a world of elves, demons than liches.
What would you choose?
Power?
Or passion?
Would you stab the monster in the back?
Or take him to bed?
The immersive fantasy audiobook bundle has it all.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com to get access.
Use code YouTube30 to get an additional 30% off.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive. Chapter 4. Sadie. She's right here, Madame Fleur says, stopping what she's doing and immediately straightening up. She shoots daggers at Louisa, mouthing at her to fix herself. Louisa hastily rearranges her skirts back down, and while the madam is distracted, I see Monica and Flora crowd her, asking her if she's all right in whispers. The dark elf smiles haughtily. "You're to come with me," he says, staring straight at me. I glance at Madame Fleur, who gives me an encouraging nod before I turn to follow the uniformed dark elf out of the classroom. She follows behind me, leaving the girls alone. Normally we don't get that reprieve, but she seems eager, grinning from ear to ear. My stomach hurts and I feel nauseous and faint as we walk through the halls. This can't be good. It must mean that the person who wants me is here to meet me. This will be our first meeting. The only good thing to come out of this is that the madam has to accompany me, which means she has to stop terrorising the other girls. Despite my predicament, my heart aches for Louisa. Even though they hate me, I don't want any of them to be treated the way Madame Fleur deems appropriate. We're taken upstairs, past the dormitory-style rooms we share, past the offices of the teachers that work here. We pass some of the rooms used for entertaining. We keep climbing up and I'm confused for a moment. Where are we going? Eventually we stop before a door several floors up, and the uniformed dark elf opens it with a flourish. "Enter, miss," he says. I hate the way they call me miss, as if I have any kind of respect. It's a delusion, and I have to fight from snapping at him. We step inside and I glance around, realising where we are. This is the private area for only the most exclusive and noble clientele. I glance around, taking it in. The walls are draped in green velvet bunting, with golden posts holding them up. The room is spacious, large enough to accommodate a dozen or more elves and ladies. Gilded, velvet-lined chairs are arranged around the room in groupings of 2 and 3, for people to sit and chat. The wooden tables are intricately carved with scalloped designs. 2 leather sofas sit facing each other. Gold-framed paintings line the walls, depicting everything from noble dark elves to scenic landscapes. Bookshelves line the walls, filled with countless tomes on everything from history to politics to an entire section on the 13. It's similar to the other client rooms, but far more upscale. Everything here looks so lush and polished. It's striking, like a gilded cage. I don't want to be here. A part of me wants to run away. Who is this person who wants to see me? Is it okay for someone like this to just buy me? Why would they want someone like me? I'm nothing special. Everyone tells me I'm the bordello princess, but Annika is far prettier than I. My other friends Fana and Gigi are far more accomplished. My Jinryaha skills are average at best. I don't have the most graceful curtsy. Even Flora can paint better than me. My opinions, what should be a graceful woodland creature, always look like chubby rodents. Why would they choose me? My stomach flutters with nerves. What if the man waiting for me is waiting to force all kinds of sick and twisted desires onto me? What if he is disgusting and perverse? I swallow, hard, feeling bile rise in my throat. The man must be nearby because Madame Fleur suddenly pulls me towards her. "Sadie, my darling, please be on your best behaviour. You must do everything you can to please this client." She smiles, caressing my face. "I know you'll do your best," she continues. "Because you're my best daughter. I'm doing this for you. This is what every girl would dream of having, sweetheart. An incredibly powerful and noble dark elf who wants the bordello's princess." She laughs, gazing at me with a fond expression. But underneath, there's something of a warning in her look. I know that she is telling me that if I do anything to jeopardize the deal, I'll pay with my life. A shiver runs down my spine, but I play my part, trying to be good and smile back, attempting to look excited at the thought. "Good girl," she says, leaning down to give me a kiss on the forehead. She nods, and we follow the uniformed elf through the exclusive lounge into a private sitting room. It's just as plush as the lounge, but it's smaller, with only a couch and few chairs. The walls in here are draped with the same bunting, but in a deep burgundy colour instead, with bronze accents. A large portrait of a severe-looking dark elf looms over us on the wall. I think he is the one who funded the Bordello's academy. I'm not sure. I've never seen him before. Though the great room had walls of books, this room is devoid of them, instead lined with interesting artefacts from all over Protheka. I spot a naga skull and what looks like the bones of an orc's foot in one display case. It's not just bones, though. There are also strange things like a tattered scroll, an ornate box, and a tiny carved lichen. For some reason, there are also a variety of plants on the far wall, as though trying to give a homely atmosphere to a place that deals in filth. I can't avoid it any longer, and my eyes track over to the reason I've been brought here, to the dark elf who requested my presence. I regard him now, taking in the sight of him. The dark elf sitting on the sofa is extremely elegant looking, with long white hair and deep grey skin, almost like charcoal. His hair is all the way down to his waist, and he's got full lips, high cheekbones and a chin dimple. His eyes find mine, and they're the exact colour of flames, not quite amber, not quite red, not quite orange. I find myself frightened of his eyes for some reason, and I shrink back a little, taking the rest of him in. The elf is sporting expensive clothing, a deep grey tunic and cream-coloured breeches, expertly tailored to fit him like a glove and stitched from the finest fabrics. His tunic is adorned in family crests and other signs of his title that I recognise. He's even got a cane, looking every bit the part of a noble dark elf. Madame Fleur looks so pleased, her violet eyes are shining, and it's all I can do not to visibly shake with nerves. I'm rooted to the spot, trying to avoid those flame eyes. The elf chuckles, calling out to me, "Come, Sadie." His voice sends shivers down my spine, but not the good kind. Everything in me is screaming not to trust this man. I don't think he has good intentions for me. He looks at me as though he wants to devour me. I can't move, despite all the training instincts in me yelling at me to walk forward. The madam sends me an encouraging smile, but when I still don't move, she calls out for me. "Don't be shy, Sadie," she says. I hear the dissatisfaction in her voice and can see the promise of punishment in her eyes. Slowly, I force myself to step forward, walking towards the elf just as I have been taught, with a gentle sway of my hips and a polished gait. I soften my features, lashes lowered bashfully, though I am feeling anything but, and curtsy. "Hello, sir, forgive me. I was nervous to meet you. I'm Sadie Elsar," I tell him, using all the training I have at my disposal to cover for my mistake. He remains silent, those flame eyes never leaving me. The silence lingers, making me even more nervous. Should I say something? What should I say? My mind is racing. I feel like I'm scorching under his gaze. I know I'm disappointing Madame Fleur right now. I can feel her eyes on us, watching this unfold. Mother below, am I going to get in trouble for letting the silence stretch on like this? It's making my stomach roll. The elf grabs my hand after a few more beats of silence, rubbing his thumb over the back, and brings it to his lips to give it a gentle kiss. "You are so beautiful. More beautiful than I could have expected," he tells me. I should feel flattered by the attention of such a powerful, noble and objectively handsome elf, but inside all I feel is fear. I don't like how he's looking at me. I don't like this entire situation. Something just doesn't feel right about it. Maybe it's his eyes. They never leave mine, following my every minute movement. I couldn't wait to meet you, he adds. I've heard such amazing things about you. Do you know how others speak of you? I'm not sure how to answer, so I gently shake my head. Good. It is not well for one such as yourself to know how she affects those around her. I appreciate your innocence more without the ego. It feels even more special this way. His words should be evoking pangs of joy in my heart. They're sweet, gentle, and flattering. So why is it that they feel so calculated, as though designed to make me feel flattered? I hope you know that I thought much about this meeting. It was all I could think about last night. I could hardly sleep for the excitement of meeting with you today. He continues, You have claimed my every waking thought and even my dreams. His words are practically poetry, but in my heart they aren't more than simpering, false flattery. I know this elf is trying to manipulate me, to put me at ease before he strikes like a predator in the forest. Thank you so much, I tell him stiffly. It is kind of you to say that. I can't even tell you how it feels to sit here with you now. And then he leans forward, his body language shifting as his voice deepens. Do you have any idea what is coming for you? His grin makes my stomach feel sick, and I fight to keep control of myself. What does he have in store for me? Chapter 5. Sadie. I stare at him, waiting for him to speak, wondering what is going to happen to me. Is it bad? It can't be good. If he merely wanted to buy me, then why the big mystery? Don't worry, little one, the elf says, reaching out to grasp my hand once more. I'm going to buy you from this place. You'll belong to me. I'm going to make you my bride. I recoil, yanking my hand back. No! It slips out before I can stop it. Mother below. Madame Fleur's face turns from joy to shock in an instant, not even bothering to hide her anger. She looks livid. I know that I've messed up so badly. Panic rises inside me, making my stomach churn. If looks could kill, I'd be bleeding out on the floor right now. Not only did I defy him, but I'm also not supposed to speak unless he allows it. Sadie! The madam scolds, tone sharp. The dark elf raises his hand, brow furrowed. Stop, he snaps. At first I think he's angry at me, but then he turns his gaze directly onto Madame Fleur. Don't you dare. You're here to chaperone, not interrupt, madam. I'll thank you not to interfere. I don't mind Miss Sadie talking to me, but I do mind you speaking out against her. He turns to me, expression softening. Don't worry, sweet. I like a girl with a little fire. His eyes seem to dance as he says it. It gets dreadfully boring when the ladies around me are always so submissive. In fact, his eyes rake over my body. It can even be fun when they put up a fight, especially in the bedroom. He's looking at me with such hunger, openly and brazenly, as though he's undressing me with his eyes. It makes me feel naked. Come, Miss Sadie, he continues, settling back against the cushions, as though he wasn't just openly ogling me. Sit with me. He's back to acting the perfect gentleman now, but I'm still wary. I hope this ends soon. I opt for sitting a few inches away from him, closer to the end of the sofa. We haven't been properly introduced yet. I am Indor Rhianorlos. My father is Duke Gandorf Rhianorlos. I grew up in Orthani, of course, and was sent to boarding school in Prefer. I completed my education and rejoined my family here in Orthani. He slides closer to me as he continues talking about himself. I raise purebred Hotkin now, which we use for sport. You must come to my stables. The beasts are magnificent and, of course, prize-winning. Indoors moved even closer still, our bodies almost touching. It's as though he's trying to test my boundaries, see how close I'll let him get. He continues chattering on about himself, not asking me a single question yet. And of course we play all manner of card games. Do you gamble, pet? He asks. I stifle my revulsion at the nickname and nod. We were taught to do a great many things that would make us accomplished and interesting ladies. Wonderful, he smiles. It should be melting my heart right now. It should make me feel things. It's soft and warm, and yet all I feel is cold revulsion. There's something in that expression that I can't put my finger on, a kind of darkness there behind the facade. He's so close to me now that his body is touching mine, hand creeping up my back to rest between my shoulder blades. I want to throw his arm off me. The only thing stopping me is knowing that he won't dare do anything more to me right now, not with Madame Fleur present. The madam wants me sold off. She wouldn't let her goods be sullied. Gods, you're going to be such a perfect wife for me, he says, growing closer still. Madame Fleur's grin returns and she looks bursting with happiness. I promise that I'm not just buying you to be a companion. I'm going to marry you. I can't wait. My heart is racing. Being sold off is one thing, but marriage? I don't understand why he wants me so much. He leans in, breath ghosting over my skin. I can't wait to mate with you, pet. We can enjoy each other's bodies to our heart's content, and I'm going to enjoy your body. The words feel like less of a promise and more of a threat. My entire body shivers. I can't hide it, so I hope it comes off as more like nervous excitement. I'm going to cherish you too, he adds. The look in his eyes says the opposite, though. You'll be mine. I'll own you, body and soul, pet, he whispers in my ear. He's pressed right against me now. You'll never want another again but me. I'm going to ravish you. I'm holding back, trying not to flinch away, but he's so close. His breath brushes against my neck and I stiffen. I can't get away, especially not with the way the madame looks like she's about to climax on the spot every time Indoor mentions marriage. I have no doubt that she's counting her money mentally right now. We'll have a grand wedding, he says, pulling back a little. We shall be the envy of every other dark elf family. I will have the most beautiful human bride on my arm to show off. He's so close to me that he's practically got me in his lap, and I can only move backward a little, trying not to let our knees touch. Now, pet, he says, narrowing his eyes, looking disappointed in me. Behave. He leans in, breath on my skin again as he whispers in my ear, You'll never be able to run away from me. Be a good, obedient girl, and I'll make sure that you have a good life, okay? I'll treat you nicely. I breathe in and out, moving to look him directly in his flame-coloured eyes, searching them. Can I trust him? I don't think so, but maybe he would be better than any other option. Being with him could be a comfortable life. At least he wants to marry me. I'll be someone's plaything either way until I die. If I'm a wife, at least I'll have status and privilege I wouldn't otherwise. The gleaning is coming. He switches tactics, settling back with his arm draped around me. He's referring to the grand ball the nobles host where all the human females of age will be officially claimed. It's going to be amazing. You'll be so pretty. The most beautiful girl there, I'm sure. We'll arrange for you to have the perfect dress to show off your beauty. I can't wait for the day to get here. He moves closer still, his face approaching mine. The urge to pull away is strong. I have to stifle myself from crying out in fear. I'm trembling all over. I don't know what to do. He's about to kiss me, I know it. He shouldn't be kissing me. Not with the madam present. But he stops an inch away from my face. Don't worry, pet. I know that girls like you get nervous about their first kiss. We'll wait. Waiting will spice things up, make us more eager for each other by the time it gets here. He smiles and reaches out, stroking my face once more, then turns to Madame Fleur with a grin on his face. Madame Fleur looks delighted with everything that's happened. He stands up and bows politely to the madam. Please take care of my bride, he says, glancing back at me with a wistful look on his face. And Miss Sadie, he gives me his full attention. I must be going now, but you will be seeing me again soon. I leave you with a parting glance, only longing to be near you once more. He sighs. I wonder if he pulled that line from a book. He takes his leave, placing his top hat back on his head, tipping it at us before disappearing with the uniformed elf. Relief washes over me the second he's gone. I feel as though I can breathe once more. His presence was stifling, too much all at once. Madame Fleur walks over to me, and I think she's about to congratulate me, but instead she hauls back and slaps me across the face, the smack stinging something fierce. My hand flies up to my cheek, and I stare at her, astonished by the gesture. "Madam?" I ask, voice trembling. "Don't you dare think yourself better than me just because he's marrying you," she shrieks. "You are no better than any of the girls here. I can still punish you. You aren't his yet, and you would do well to remember that." She looks so angry, trembling all over from her rage. Her face is contorted. "You think yourself so high and mighty, but you're still just trash that we took pity on." Why is the madam so angry? I didn't mean to make her mad. I know I messed up earlier, but Indor didn't seem to mind my outburst. Is it because he chided her for interrupting, and she can't scold him, so she's taking it out on me? I rub my cheek and stare at the ground. Why did I have to act like that? I've been trained my whole life, at least as long as I can remember, to act with decorum and grace at all times. I've been taught how to walk, talk and act in ways that will please whatever dark elf selects me for companionship. How could I let my training fail me? "I'm sorry," I burst out, feeling sick inside. "I'm sorry, madam." "You little brat." She's pacing now. "After everything I've done for you, and this is how you repay me." She lunges for me, and I let out a terrified scream. How far is she going to take this?
Chapter 6. Renem. The hunt yesterday was the best I've had in a while. The way the youngling ran and ran, I ended up chasing him to the edges of the forest. We fought once more before I subdued him by ripping his head off. I ate every last bit of him, and then I went back and finished off his companions. Delicious. But the hunger never seems to subside, and it's a whole new day, which means a new hunt to look forward to. The temptation of dark elf blood is too much to resist. Tonight, I head into the city to prowl for fresh dark elf meat. My favorite way to hunt now is by stalking the streets, injecting terror into those caught unawares late at night. Their screams give me just the right motivation. I feast on their fear, the scent calling to me as much as their blood. Dropping from a branch, I slink into the cobblestone streets, gliding along as I look for my prey. I scent the air, nose turned up to catch whatever wafts in my direction. The scent of unwashed bodies and alcohol burns my nose. It won't be much of a hunt, but the low-life dark elf scum a few streets over are likely hanging out and getting progressively more drunk. These idiots won't know what hit them. Speeding up, I get just one street over from them and let out a low growl in warning. I could just descend upon them and create utter chaos, but it's more fun to hunt them. "What was that?" I hear someone ask. "Just a wild animal," another says, dismissing the first one. Good. They're too inebriated to think straight. I stalk closer, making sure they can hear the sound of my claws clicking against the cobblestones, and let out another growl. "I think there's something out there," a third voice calls. Chaotic noises of shoving and pushing echo through the alleyway, and I slowly slip around the corner. There are 5 of them. Excellent. This will make for a fine appetizer indeed. I can practically taste their fear already. I lunge at them, hissing and snarling, giving them plenty of time to run. I want them to run. The 5 dark elven scum scatter in every direction, attempting to flee. I take one down quickly, as he's older and can't run as fast due to his high state of inebriation. Descending upon him, I make short work of plunging my hand through his chest and ripping out his heart, devouring it in a single gulp. I then head after the next one, hearing someone staggering through the streets nearby. Doesn't take me long to locate number 2. His scent is soured with the piss running down his leg. It's almost enough to curb my bloodlust, with my conscious thoughts so tied to the dark elves themselves. I found it difficult to eat tainted food, though not impossible once the blood starts to flow. He's currently huddling behind some refuse bins, deep in an alley. There is nowhere for him to go, so I'm assuming he thinks I can't track him here. Gotcha! I leap onto him, gnashing my jaw. The last thing he sees before his chest is ripped open is my flashing red eyes and sharp teeth, bared for maximum fright. As always, hunger consumes me with the first drop of blood. I no longer care about the soiled creature. I just need to eat. I swallow him nearly whole, my body already on to my next victim. Wet footfalls lead me to tracking down number 3, who seems to be attempting to escape through the sewers. It's easy to crush his skull with the sewer grate. I drag his dead body to join his friend, intending to eat all but number 2 at the same time. Number 4 is a little trickier for me. He's run to the edge of the enormous city gardens, probably looking for a guard. I track him down by his scent, a strange emotion growing in my chest. The elf is calling for help, as if anyone could stop me. I follow the sound of his voice and keep to the shadows, pouncing on him just as he opens his mouth to scream. I rip his head off before he even realizes I found him. The adrenaline is pumping hard inside me now, getting my blood going, giving me even more energy for the rest of the night. I'm just getting started right now. The thrill of the chase is just as exciting as the kill. The last one, number 5, is eluding me. He's either more clever or less drunk than the other 4. He's managed to throw me off the trail by leaving his scent in an odd pattern across the city. I duck through alleyways, slip in and out of the park, and even head down to the docks, but the dark elf seems to have given me the slip. Fortunately for me, none of the degenerates are as clever as I am. This one makes a fatal mistake. He doubles back, heading back to the spot I found them, thinking that I'll be too busy tracking his scent to check there. I'm waiting for him when he arrives, though, my eyes glowing in the dark, the rest of me hidden in shadows so my eyes are the only thing he can see. He screams and starts running off again, but I'm faster. I overtake him and he falls to the ground. I start dragging him by the legs as he scrabbles against the ground, trying to gain purchase. It's useless, though. He's not getting away now. I drag him back to the same alley as his friends, and he screams and screams in terror upon seeing their dead, mutilated bodies. Your turn, I tell him, practically pulsing with the need to kill. I grab him by the head and twist his neck, snapping it. The 4 of them make a delicious little appetizer, but my endless bloodlust is not quelled. Luckily, this is the perfect place for me to hunt. I have my run of the city. No one can even dare hope to stop me. I'm far too powerful. I hope it's like this every night, with no distractions. Though, I suppose that it's nice to have a good fight sometimes. It's almost better when the prey fights me off. The scent of fear and adrenaline is unlike anything else, making me feel heady and more sated when I finally catch them. I'm just finishing the last of number 4 when I hear footsteps and jovial discourse. So I told her that I'm going to make her my bride. The group laughs and I creep up to the end of the alley, peeking from around the corner to take in the sight. There are 5 of them as well, but they aren't common dark elves. No, these are powerful ones, emitting magic from their bodies. Blood drips from my fleshless maw as I lift my skull to the air, huffing the strong scent their magic leaves in their wake. What a perfect main course, just dropped right into my lap. I watch them walk down the road with not a care in the world and realize there aren't just 5. There is a 6th one in the middle of the group. Is he their leader? Forgoing my usual tactics, I rush at them and attack immediately, taking out one of the guards by reaching into his chest and crushing his heart. When I retract my hand, I inhale the sweet scent of strong magic in his blood. I can't help myself and I bring my fingers to my mouth, licking them clean. It tastes even better than it smells, and it makes the magic course through my veins. This is power. It's weak compared to my usual victims, but the quantity should do the trick. What is that? One shouts as they all back away in fear. They're not stupid enough to run, but I can smell the fear emanating from them. By the gods, protect your duke! Their leader shouts. Defend me, as is your job! But he seems to be inching away as well, the terror in him palpable. The guards seem reluctant to obey, but they put up a fight anyway. I'm nearly vibrating with excitement. This is what I craved. They attack me in a formation, fighting with a skill that surprises me. Of course, I'm still more powerful and cunning than these babes, but I enjoy it nevertheless. One draws a sword and another summons a ball of fire. I dodge the fire and the sword attack, body shifting to the left and the right in quick succession while the attacks miss me. "Get it!" their leader yells. The sword carrying one lifts it again, attempting to slice off my head. It's a good shot, but I simply duck and pop up behind him, twisting his head clean off his neck. The one with firepower summons a bigger ball, throwing it at me. I manage to whirl around him so fast that time seems to stand still as I push him into his own fire, lighting him up. I don't usually eat my meat cooked, but for him I might make an exception, especially with how deliciously loudly he's screaming. There's only two left, and they stand back to back, both of them with drawn swords, minutely trembling. I growl at them before attacking. They fight in tandem, swords nearly striking me. I'm pleased by their skill. They're extremely powerful with their magic, channeling it into their swords to create lightning and magical energies that they shoot at me. It merely glances off me and I descend upon them, bashing their skulls together hard so they fall down dead at the same time. I turn to the last one, their leader. Stalking slowly forward, I catch a whiff of his scent. There's fear there, but there's also something else. Something nice. I breathe it in more deeply, entranced by it. It makes me feel full, strangely. I continue stalking forward. The dark elf screams, covering his head. "Not me! Not me! Get away!" The more I smell it, the more something stirs inside me that I don't recognize. "Who are you?" I demand. "Why do you smell this way?" Orcs. Gargoyles. Vampires. Ice monsters. Demons of the dark. These beasts seek war, destruction, and power. And there's only one thing that can tame them.
Love.
This is your chance to get the uncut and unabridged audiobook bundle.
No detail is spared.
Use discount code YouTube30 for an additional 30% off of the already discounted price.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com.
Get access to countless audiobooks and discounted bundles where I talk you through every last scene.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.